The demand for the base chain is going to continue to grow. We've already seen memes skyrocket, and Aerodrome Finance was no different as the leading decentralized exchange on Base. I originally got into Aerodrome Finance around 9 cents when it was listed on Coinbase as an experimental asset. Aerodrome Finance is backed by Coinbase Ventures, and Base is starting to get integrated into Coinbase's wallet. This will put hundreds of millions of people on the Base chain practically overnight. And as the bull run is just starting to heat up, guys, I truly think that the activity that comes to Base will soon become the leading layer 2 built on Ethereum. In this video, we're going to go over on-chain data. How is Aerodrome Finance and Base doing with on-chain data? Is it growing? Are the amount of users and fees growing? Does this look like it's going to be successful? We're also going to compare this to Uniswap and see when do we think Base could potentially take over Uniswap as the leading volume decentralized exchange on Base. Guys, we're going to get into all that in this video and more. But first, I want to welcome you back to Freeman Finance and Crypto, where if it makes money, it makes sense. Guys, I'm truly grateful from the bottom of my heart for every single one of you. But if you are not subscribed, please pause the video, hit subscribe, hit that bell notification. Now let's get into the video, guys. The central trading liquidity marketplace on Base. I love that they have this data here, TVL, monthly trading, but we're going to validate this with actual on-chain data. Anyone that doesn't know Aerodrome Finance, this is built using the OP stack, Optimism stack. This was something that is backed by Coinbase Ventures, and Base is from Coinbase essentially. So when we kind of look at the price, this was when I originally got in, somewhere back here. It was around 9 cents when it listed, and you could see we had a meteoric rise to $2.37, yet it has had a pretty deep retracement. So let's just measure this up leg real quick just to give us. So it was about 195%. Let's call that 200%, and it has since went down at the most 64%, and it's currently down 55%. And so just recently, Coinbase integrated the Base chain onto their smart wallets, which is going to onboard millions and millions of customers. So in my personal opinion, I think this is a good time for me to buy Base. Of course, none of this is ever financial advice. I'm just a dude on YouTube who I'm so grateful that you all like to listen to. But always do your own research, guys. But if we really look at this, I do think it has bottomed out. But let's look at the Base chain, because like I said, Aerodrome Finance is nothing without Base. And how has Base been doing? Right now, we're looking at transaction count, and you could see back in March, it was about half a million transactions a day. And it went up in April, which coincides with this peak right here. So that makes sense, right? And then it really tapered down. And if we look, it really tapered down. And then we've been pretty flat around $1.20 to $1, somewhere in there. And we have now seen an uptick over the last few days in transaction volume, guys. We now hit 3 million. When just a few days ago, it was down to 1.9 million. So it's over 1 million transactions. And I believe that something like Aerodrome Finance being the DEX token does lag. It's a lagging indicator of this price rising. I don't think it's the same day transaction spike up, this token goes up in price. I don't think it works like that. But I do think it is coming soon. So that's the transaction count, guys. And if we want to look at active daily users, this is also going up. If we just go back to this low point, it was at 228,000 daily users, where today it is 424. So that's almost a 50% increase, 150K daily users. And the truth of the matter is, guys, a lot of people don't even know how to use Uniswap. So using Aerodrome Finance, a new DEX, is even harder to get adopted, but it's going to happen. And Base is going to continue to grow, guys. I think this bull run, Base will pass up Polygon as the leading layer 2 on Ethereum. I just think it will. And so right now, I want to kind of compare Aerodrome Finance and Uniswap, because Uniswap is the leading volume holder on Base chain. But Aerodrome Finance, I do believe, will catch up eventually. But we got to think Uniswap does everything on Ethereum, not just Base. So if we take a look at that, Base currently is about 10 to 15% of the overall volume on Ethereum. So keep that in mind when we're comparing this data. But when we look at Aerodrome Finance users, they were at 14.6 users on June 5th. Now, mind you, this is Aerodrome Finance, not Base Chain, like we were just looking at. So Aerodrome, 15,000 users on June 5th. If we look over here, June 5th, there was 281,000 users on Uniswap. So it's drastic difference. But you could see the hype and the usability just moves with the bull market, guys. Everything will go up whenever the bull run comes and when activity grows, right? Now, how much they go up, that'll be dependent on how good the project is. But that's when we look at that. But if we take a look at trading volume right here, we can see that trading volume on Aerodrome Finance was 22 million. Okay. And it came up a lot. And while I show you all this, I'm going to move my big head so you can see. And when we look at trading volume on Uniswap, you can see it was at 1.75 billion. And what was this? 20 million. So even considering that this is only 10% of the volume on the overall Ethereum chain, Uniswap definitely has the edge on Aerodrome Finance. But we've got to remember, Aerodrome Finance is extremely young, guys. The chart that I just showed us shows that this was just made in January, or just released here in January when the data started. So guys, it's not very old at all. But a bet on Aerodrome Finance, like I said, is a bet on the Base chain. I believe in Coinbase. I believe in Brian Armstrong. They are one of the best tier one exchanges. It's between that and Binance. And the fundamental work that Coinbase does, I believe, will propel the price of Aerodrome Finance. But before we kind of do a price prediction or kind of look into that, I want to kind of look at Bitcoin, because at the end of the day, everything is following Bitcoin, guys. So if we just kind of draw this up, we're pretty much waiting for that to break. We're pretty much waiting for an explosive break. And like I showed y'all yesterday, I am expecting this to get right around 100,000. Depends at the time it breaks, but I would think that it will be something kind of like this. So somewhere, if it broke out now, I'd be expecting about 95,000. If it broke out a little higher, 105,000. But I do expect a lot of selling pressure at 100,000. That'll probably tick down and kind of bring this thing back to somewhere in here before going up. So that's what I think for Bitcoin. But at the end of the day, we need Bitcoin to take off to start the bull run. But then we want Bitcoin to slow down to start altcoin season. We want money to be taken out of Bitcoin and put into alts. But when we really dig into this price, guys, as we've seen, it had a very big price drop from when it came down. But where do I see the next extension of Aerodrome Finance coming? The truth of the matter is that I think it will be $3 before too long. I believe that volume will take off, and I believe Aerodrome Finance will get a lot of hype behind it. And that's why I'm currently looking for a position to get into Aerodrome Finance. I think we have hit the bottom here. I don't think we're going to hit this again. It had a real nice double bottom right here. It hit this 88-cent mark, came up, hit that 88-cent mark, came up, and I don't think we're going to see that price anytime soon. Now, I say anytime soon because of the fact that Aerodrome Finance does not have good tokenomics, guys. They really don't. And I want to show y'all something because it's extremely important when we get into these tokens to look at the circulating supply. So when we take a look at this, you can see that back here, and let me take this price off real quick. If we look back here in December, it had 196 million tokens. Well, now 6 months later, it has 478 million tokens. This has to do with their flywheel mechanism and how they give rewards. So it's definitely an inflationary token, which is why we see the price die when volume dies, guys. This is all, you can compare all these together, that when trading volume lowers, you start lowering in price. You could see these big spikes came with volume. And so that only makes sense. But the reason I say that, this is not a long-term hold for me. This isn't something that I'm holding till I die. It's definitely not that, because a bear market and lack of volume will destroy the price of Aerodrome Finance. Now that's a part of the mechanism, guys. That is how it's designed. It's inflationary, and that's all there is to it. But let me know, what do y'all think about Aerodrome Finance? Are you in it? What do you think about hitting $3? Like, I think it could, guys. And have y'all been holding? I mean, the tokenomics are bad. I'm not gonna lie. The tokenomics are bad, but being the leading DEX, or the hoping leading volume DEX on base, I think there is a lot of promise for it until a better DEX comes. Or is there even any reason to get off a Uniswap? I mean, I think that's a serious question. But guys, let me know down below. Watch this video up above. And if you're not a part of the Freeman and Finance family, please subscribe. Thank you.